Welcome to my home office talks. Good afternoon for our audience in the US and a good evening for our guests in Europe. And if you're watching this from Asia, I thank you for staying up so late. Today, we talk about innovation and safety in ice hockey. Why ice hockey? Well, it's the greatest sport in the world. Just ask anybody from Canada, Sweden, or Finland. Okay, there are other great sports in the world, such as soccer here in Germany or cricket in India. And let's not forget about baseball or football. But what makes ice hockey special is the partnership between the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Carnegie Mellon University next door, and Covestro. Together, these three have created very unique innovation partnership to improve the safety in ice hockey using the best and brightest minds of material science. The pandemic, of course, has ended the season in most countries, just like yesterday in Finland, but hopefully sooner rather than later comes the time when teams can practice, play hockey, and eventually have fans watch the players' magic at the rink in a safe way. I'm extremely honored to welcome our expert guests today, Mark Turley from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who has driven collaboration from its beginnings, and Bob Walker from Covestro, likewise one of the early drivers of this partnership. Welcome, guys. Let's see if we can get you up on screen. And there you are. Good to see you.
There we are. Thank you, Nico.
I love your
Thank you, Nika.
I love your
Thanks
Christmas
for
tree. Christmas tree. Bob.
having Bob and I from Pittsburgh with you.
Cool. So before we begin, remember, this is a live broadcast. We are really live. Somebody is asking, are you guys really live? Yes, we are really live. So you can ask questions live, and please put them in the comment box below, and we'll get to these questions and get them answered towards the end of the broadcast. So, Mark, let me start with you. Let's start with an update on the impact of the pandemic on the sport. Can you share any thoughts on when the 2021 season will get underway? A lot of talk about that. How have the fans reacted? And what about the players?
Yeah, that's the $64,000 question right now, Nico. You know, we're abiding by news that we get from the league, and the league has told us they're targeting a January start. They're working with the players on exactly, the Players Association on exactly what that will look like, the length of the season. And, you know, for us, we'll be guided by the league, the CDC, state and local governments in terms of what attendance can be at our games. We suspect that, you know, that'll change over time, and there may be, you know, a period where there's very few fans, and then a period where there are more fans. You know, we're hopeful of that. I think the goal of the upcoming season will be, you know, to have some good quality games, and then really target a more normal calendar when we get to next fall and be able to host, you know, if the vaccine works, and we'll be able to host fans, a full house.
We're certainly looking forward to that as it happens. Bob, how about you? How are you holding up from home office all these months?
Well, Nico, it's interesting, and I was just thinking about this morning. We had our last Makeathon, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little further with our colleagues and student friends at Carnegie Mellon in March of this year, excuse me. And right after the Makeathon concluded is when we went into lockdown.
Yeah.
And what we thought was a very short trial period of working from home ended up being seemingly forever. But I can tell you that after 6 or 8 months of working from home, it's become, I think, the new normal for us, and I don't mean to use a catchphrase there, but it really is our team, our communications team in Pittsburgh is operating at full speed. We talk to each other daily, and the collaboration that we have continues, and it's the new way of working for us. So we haven't skipped the beat, I don't think.
And of course, I think it's important to continue life as normally as you can, despite of everything, despite of the difficult situation. Bob, let's turn the discussion to the unique partnership with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Can you share with us a little bit about the Rethink the Rink initiative and how it got all started?
Sure. Well, let me jump back to 2015 for a minute. Where we had our carve out, and we had a tremendous challenge, both nationally and especially in Pittsburgh, to begin to seed the Covestro name in the local community. And one of the ways we did that initially was a pure sponsorship with the Penguins, where we would get access to, some signage on site, on the dasher board, some advertising, and so forth. And that was the beginning. And shortly after that came the initiation of the Rethink the Rink initiative, and really that was born out of a conversation between our former CEO or president at that time, Jerry McClary, and the CEO of the Pens, David Morehouse, all about how do we prevent injury. They were actually at a hockey game, and I think David said to Jerry, I'm tired of my guys getting hurt. You, as a prominent material supplier, don't you have something that could help us look at ways to improve the safety of the sport, either through technology or through materials? So that's how Rethink the Rink got started.
Which is it's always people that have together ideas, and then great stuff comes up, and I think we can show some of the students' work later on. But Mark,
Sure.
from the Penguins' perspective, why are the Pens so focused on player safety? So can you talk a little bit about the innovation in the sport generally, and maybe start also talking about rink design, because rink design was the first topic for the collaboration.
Yeah, it was, Nico. I think, Bob capsulized the anecdote, the story of David and Jerry's conversation. David also has a son who's a fairly elite hockey player, so he had a personal stake in this as well. But really, player safety is, when you boil it down, it's protecting your assets, and the long-term health of your current players, the development of younger players, and protecting them. Your fans, they want to see your best players on the ice, and it doesn't help the game when they're out for extended period of time for injuries. So we're trying to showcase the speed and the skill and the athleticism of our game, and in order to do that, I think you try to protect all of the players on all of the levels. So you ask a little bit about innovation in our game. I think when you watch, you're able to see things, the data collection, that the coaches have the immediacy to be able to look at replays really quickly. But when it comes to rink design, there hadn't been a whole lot of work put into things like dasher boards or innovation involved with dasher boards. You think about our game and you compare it, you talked a little bit about soccer, Nico, or football. We have a hard boundary. There's no place to escape. That boundary encircles the entire playing surface. And as I said, there's no place to hide. And you're playing the game at a very high speed. And, that can tend to lead to injuries. So, when David and Jerry had that conversation went something like, you guys are a material sciences company.
Carnegie Mellon University.
We're a hockey.
What we wanted to do was see if there's a way to make hockey boards safer for kids and for NHL
that
players,
can
for that matter.
make these
The
boards
first thing is that it protects the
essentially
player.
softer,
And that's the
but
most
not
important thing
change
in the
the
game.
speed of the game.
If there's
not
anything that's
change
safer
the
for
way that they
everybody,
react.
it's a bonus.
So
It's the
it was
only
an
sport
interesting
that has,
challenge.
a
That
physical
was put
boundary.
forth
There's nowhere to
to
hide.
all levels of our
So if
organization.
that boundary
the
is
folks
as
at
safe as we can
Covestro,
possibly
who
make
then
it,
very
we're at it.
quickly brought the
Boards that
CMU
would have
people on
a
board.
hard
And,
exterior, so the
Rethink
puck
the Rink,
behaves the same way
as
it
Bob
does
said,
now.
Rethink the Rink
But
was
if
born.
See from the video that it is a fast game, and of course somebody
Yes.
from Finland who grows up with the game, we know this by heart. Bob, involving the Carnegie Mellon University students was a major starting point in the Rethink the Rink innovation. So can you talk a little bit about the Makeathon process? Where did we start, and where are we today?
Sure, happy to do that, Nico. It's really very fulfilling, actually. we started to talk in serious terms with the Penguins in the fall of 2017 about how we could bring this collaboration together, working towards a common goal, the improving the safety of the sport. And I have to give you and my colleagues in Germany some credit here as well, introducing a model that was, I think, born either in Germany or in Singapore, where you would involve students at local universities to try to solve a problem, and in the form of a Makeathon workshop. So once we discussed that idea, we took that to the Pens first and presented that as an idea, which they immediately fell in love with. And I think it was David Morehouse that said, if we're going to involve a university as a third partner, that it has to be Carnegie Mellon. Because I think the Pens already had an existing relationship with Carnegie Mellon, and it was a natural third partner for us. So we engaged some of the folks from the engineering school at Carnegie Mellon. They loved the idea. They were very familiar with, in our words, Makeathon, but they conduct hackathons on specific projects. So long story short, we jumped ahead to March of 2018, had our first week-long Makeathon over spring break. And I always talk about how impressed I am with the dedication of these very, very smart students giving up their free time at spring break to basically work all week with us and with the Pens to try to solve a problem. In this case, the very first Makeathon was about dasherboard design, dasherboard safety, and we've had some really tremendous progress from that very first Makeathon in 2018.
And I think, again, the pictures speak for themselves. The enthusiasm and the skills of the students, which I have also followed over the 3 years, is truly exceptional. Remember that you guys can ask questions. So if you have any questions around the Makeathon or the Pittsburgh Penguins doing this innovation with the partnership, please put those questions in the question box down below. Mark, can you give us the Pens perspective on why this partnership with Carnegie Mellon and Covestro is so special from your point of view?
Yes, I mean, for us organizationally, Nico, we learned a lot about collaboration too, and we learned a lot about unique sponsorship activation. Bob was talking about as recently as 2015, where Covestro had some signage in the arena and some hospitality, and that was the way the partnership looked. What this did was create one of the most unique activations. Bob and I talk once a week, so we're talking all the time. And we say, this is one of the signature moments of both of our careers. One of the signature activations. It's so unique for us. One of our brand pillars is innovation. So this fits, right into that. So, but collaboration is both external with Covestro and with CMU. But one of the business lessons we learned, Nico, was about collaboration internally, because this involves not just our sponsorship group. It involves our communication team, which is constantly updating what's happening at Makeathon and the successes. It involves our social media team. It involves our video production team. It involves our game night team. It involves our hockey operations group. It involves our coaching staff. And it's a lot of, I guess, it's a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding to be able to see everybody rowing in the same direction. And so just from that standpoint alone, it's been extremely successful. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about really measurable successes too, but the collaboration more than anything has been a really unique business lesson.
I think that, again, having so much different expertise working together on the topic, I mean, it certainly creates unique outcomes. And to talk about partners, Bob, you added a fourth partner or partners, Athletica and Bauer Hockey. So how helpful were those relationships and support on the journey?
Sure. So study this as well today and apply it to what you're going to see tomorrow in the real world. I think now we're going to turn it over to Diana for a short poster note session. Penn side, and then also from the Covestro side, especially our technical experts, that there were some really great ideas that we needed to take forward. So how best to do that? I think it became very obvious to us very early on that we needed to engage the folks that actually make, in this case, the dasher board systems. So we went to the best of the best, I guess, and those are my words. But Athletica is the major dasher board and rink design company across the world. They are located in Toronto, and we went to them with an idea. And actually, we some of us from Covestro actually went to sit down with them personally and talk about our ideas and ask for their help as this fourth collaboration partner. And they jumped on board right away. And they have been with us in partnership, helped with refining the design and building a prototype. And now we're at a point on the dashboard project that we have a number of segments of the new technology installed in the Penn's practice facility in Cranberry, Pennsylvania. So we've gone from concept to prototype to refinement to a full product that is
University. What we wanted to do was see if there's a way to make hockey boards safer for kids and for NHL players for that matter.
The first thing is that it protects the players. And that's the most important thing in the game. If there's anything that's safer for everybody, is a bonus. It's the only.
And I think we don't have any fresh footage from the Cranberry Rink installation. Mark, we have certainly had some success with the new dasher boards design. Can you give us kind of the latest? Where are we with the dasher boards? Where do we?
Yeah, and Bob touched on that a little bit, Nico, but. We have a UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex, which is about 25 miles north of the city of Pittsburgh. It is an $80 million practice facility that would rival anybody's facility on the planet. It's a medical facility as well as 2 sheets of ice, and within that, Covestro has the naming rights on one of those rinks, the Covestro Innovation Rink. It is the primary practice complex for our team. Our team has full facilities up there, full training and workout facilities up there. It's also the headquarters of our Penguins Elite program, 22 youth hockey teams there. The facility is programmed basically around the clock. So what it does with the Covestro Innovation Rink in particular, as Bob said, Athletica has installed some of the new designs on the Covestro Innovation Rink. So basically what we have is a testing facility that's testing the results of these boards with NHL players as well as all levels of development. And the early results are extremely encouraging. The last thing you want is for an NHL player to drill a puck off the board and says the board is different, but they don't see any difference. So again, the early results are really good. I know we had some data that I think you're going to share as well.
Yeah, I can show it now.
What can happen, injuries, So this is Jake Gensel, who was hurt about a year ago in a game.
Yeah, let me add a little bit of color to that too, Nico. So you can see Jake was checked really very hard into the board behind the goal, and that resulted in I think a neck, shoulder, and maybe even a broken collarbone injury that put him out for a period of time. And we were at a point at that when that injury occurred where we had a new dasher board design It wasn't installed yet in Cranberry, but we had the design, and we had a lot of data around that. So the Pens came to us and our technical team and said, "Hey, is there a way that you could possibly look at that injury, look at how that interaction between the player and the boards took place, and come up with a simulation that would allow us to begin to think about what if the new technology board was installed? Would his injury be the same? Would it be different, or would it be less, or would it make a difference?" So our team in the application development lab in Pittsburgh, our plastics team, looked at that video, which was provided by the Pens, and really broke it down. And you can see in terms of speed, mass, and impact that we were able to, in layman's terms, basically determine that the position that he hit the boards was really a sweet spot for our new technology, and that if that new board system was installed when he hit that board at that particular time, the possibility of a significant reduction in injury is real. In that, so we have data that shows that his injury probably would not have been as severe or severe at all if that new board system was installed at that time. So it's pretty exciting. Not for Jake, of course. I mean, it
looked painful.
Unfortunate. It looks very painful. But from a materials side, from a technology side, the data that we have from that simulation is very encouraging.
Yes. Yeah, and that's one of the more violent collisions you're going to see with a dasher board right there at a really high speed.
But at least he made a goal. If there's something to be said, and having skated on the same ice in Cranberry, I can underline what you said. I mean, these are one of the nicest ices you see anywhere on the planet. We have already some questions coming in. Thank you very much for posing these questions. Please keep them coming. Let's look a little bit into the outlook. Bob, what's next for the Rethink the Rink initiative? I mean, this has been now going on for 3 years. We have seen some amazing, actually, results from the students being implemented at NHL level rinks. And especially if you think about the COVID-19, under which we are suffering now all.
Sure.
What's next?
Well, let me bounce back a little bit to give you a complete answer to your question about fourth partners. I talked about Athletica.
So study this as well today and apply it to what you're going to see tomorrow in the
19. And the third Makeathon, which was in the spring of this year, 2020, was focused on equipment. Specifically, in 19, it was goalie helmets, and in 20, it was shoulder and elbow pads. So we enlisted the help of a fourth partner again here, not Athletica, but Bauer Sports Systems, one of the prominent equipment manufacturers in the world. And they are working right now on refining some designs on the initial work that was done on the helmet. And unfortunately, with the shoulder and elbow pad work, that lies with them right now, but they've been hit like everyone else has with really severe work restrictions because of COVID. And that's on the shelf for them. And as soon as we have some movement on vaccines and life gets back to normal, I think they will pick that up very quickly. So moving ahead to where are we and where are we going with Makeathons? It is our intent, ours being Covestro's and the Penguins and Carnegie Mellon's, that this initiative has a lot of life left in it, and we want to preserve that and keep this momentum going because we see a lot of progress. And I can tell you the students and the folks at CMU are tremendously excited and engaged about the process, and the connection that they have both with the Penguins and also with Covestro. So we're looking at 2021 to conduct another Makeathon. We do know that the spring of 2021 is, at least early spring, is not going to be a possibility because
Carnegie Mellon University. What we wanted to do was see if there's a way to make hockey boards safer for kids and for NHL players for that
There
matter.
will not be a spring
The
break
first
this
thing
year,
is
so,
that it protects the
March
players,
is out of the question,
and that's the most
but
important thing in the
we're
game.
looking at right after the end of the spring semester, which would be middle of May. So it's our intent right now to keep that momentum going and have another Makeathon, hopefully in person. The folks at CMU think that can be done safely, and we're going to reevaluate that shortly after the turn of the year. So it will live on. We will conduct a Makeathon, whether it be in person or potentially virtually, but I think it's in our best interest and as a partnership, and also to keep that momentum going for the good of the game.
Cool. Certainly looking forward to it, because I think the innovation isn't over. Definitely, it's not over in the game of hockey. There's so much that can be done with bright minds.
Sure.
Mark, let's one more question to you before we go to audience questions.
Sure.
How will safety play an increasing role in the sport of hockey from your point of view? And talk a little bit about the age levels, because obviously what we have been seeing so far is mainly for the professional level of NHL players. So do you believe this innovation can be also used for other age groups? And also, what about other sports than hockey?
Well, I think most importantly, Nico, for development programs and for youth hockey, you take a look at what's happening with youth football, and the participation rates really dropping. As I think, it's no surprise. I think a lot of parents are concerned about safety around football. Conversely, youth hockey participation is escalating. So you want to continue to reassure parents that the game is safe. So projects like Rethink the Rink, around equipment, around the boards, et cetera, I think enunciate that. So from our standpoint, investing in player safety, investing in the development safety for younger players is really critical to the long-term health of our game. So from that standpoint, I think we're, our Rethink the Rink program has been very successful. And you ask, how do you translate this and how do you transfer it to other sports? I think when you take a look at what we did with goalie helmets and what the students developed with goalie helmets, less than 2 years ago, and how some of those innovations are coming to life right now too, that you would think that stuff like that can be easily transferred to football helmets or race helmets, et cetera. So I think that some of the technologies are very transferable. You look at a sport like auto racing, which has a wall around its driving surface, and how much that resembles our game as well. So I think, anecdotally, it would make sense that a lot of these innovations could transfer to other games.
And certainly some of the students, it's always interesting, I think, that the students who participate at the Makeathons, they are actually, most of them are not hockey players. I mean, many of them are playing other sports than hockey, but they are interested in the physics and interested what can be done out of that. So I think also that
it's amazing to watch them work, Nico. That's for sure.
And
it's an interesting anecdote about the students, Nico, and I've gotten to know a number of them throughout the last 3 Makeathons, and I've been contacted. I can't even imagine or begin to tell you how many times from each of these individual students saying, "We love Covestro. You are the greatest material company in the world. We want to work for you." So I mean, we have through this process, we've established a brand, if you will, within the student population, especially those in the engineering discipline, that we are someone that they pay attention to, and they potentially see us as a future employer.
And from our standpoint, again, just to reiterate what was said earlier, this is a marquee signature partnership of ours. We can point to this to, sort of non-traditional brands in areas like Covestro is in, and we can show, look, these are some of the things that we can do. So again, from a standpoint of business, it's extremely valuable. This partnership is a showcase partnership for us.
Cool. So Pittsburgh is becoming the sport safety capital of the world. Let's go to questions. We have one from Quentin. Thanks, Quentin, for the question. Let me put it up on screen. What are some of the next steps to build or test some of the CMU ideas? Definitely, there are always tons more ideas than actually, get finalized or kind of get further down the chain. What are your thoughts on that?
I can touch on that a little bit. When we decided on the focus area for each of the Makeathons, that was very much in concert with the Penguins, and in particular their equipment folks. Where are the gaps, if you will, in safety? Where are these injuries occurring? And out of those discussions came the dasher board project, the helmet project, and so forth. But I think when you look to the future, we only scratched the surface. When you think about safety from an equipment standpoint, we haven't talked about skates, we haven't talked about shin pads, we haven't talked about player helmets. I mean, we talked about goalie helmets, but there are a number of other I think opportunities for us to look at and start with the students at CMU and if it is equipment, most likely Bauer will be our partner. They've absolutely signed on to that based on what our focus area will be. But I think from a next step standpoint, we keep this process going, we keep the momentum going, and once we get past COVID, I think the development work will continue in a fairly substantial way.
And we also, just to follow up on Bob's comments, we look at the UPMC sports complex as a testing laboratory. And, so to literally test some of these ideas, we have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that. And we talked about the boards being installed, and I think you'll see some of these other developments as time goes on, and as Bob said, particularly in a post-COVID environment.
And certainly when you have in the practice facility, the UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Yes.
Certainly you have best class medicine and hockey safety in the same place. Absolutely. So our audience, if you have suggestions on what topics the future Makeathons should look at, please write them down below, because now we have the experts are on the table, so they can take it up to the next Makeathons, which will find more ideas to use the wonderful brains of the students to get more out of that. Let me just check if there are any more questions or comments to that. Feel free to use the wonderful opportunity to talk directly to Pittsburgh Penguins and our Covestro hockey gurus at the same time. It doesn't look like we have anymore. It's probably so late already in the evening in Europe and too early in the afternoon in the US. So thank you very much, Mark and Bob, for taking the time to talk about hockey. There's nothing more important to talk about that, as you know. And of course, thank you for the amazing work that you do for hockey enthusiasts, not only in the US, but really for around the world. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Nico. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you at the next Makeathon back here. But it's always great to see you every year at our facilities, and we look forward to many years of working on these Makeathons and working on Rethink the Rink.
And I still have all of your hockey equipment, Nico.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming to play whenever there's an opportunity. Thank you very much. Great seeing you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, bud.
Okay.
See you soon.
Thank you so much. for tuning in to our home office talk. And thanks for the questions. I mean, please keep commenting on those, because the next opportunity is coming up and we're able to kind of pick up on your ideas. So thank you very much for being with us. Check out the Covestro YouTube playlist to watch any of the previous 20 episodes we have done since March this year. And I look forward to see you again on the 16th of December when we talk about artificial intelligence. Until then, as always, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.